Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, how prepared are you to face an intruder if someone invades your home tonight? Several years ago when I was house sitting, I realized that I didn't have the resources, an exit strategy, or even mental and physical preparation to face an intruder in my home. And I learned it at the worst possible time, when an intruder actually came in. Listen to this story and learn from my mistakes. Lesson number 1. I thought about many ways of capturing this title. At first I was going to call it MacGyver. Then it was going to be paper clips and chewing gum. But I figured out I wasn't trying to defuse a nuclear bomb. I was simply trying to figure out, what are my resources? And what are your resources if an intruder comes into your home? I was in the guest bedroom wearing nothing but a t-shirt and soccer shorts, and I turned out all the lights in the house, locked the front door, but guess what? I had no phone. When I had finally got into a comfortable position in bed, I heard a door close that was not supposed to close. I was supposed to be the only person in that house for that entire week. My housemate was in Houston. The only 2 animals in that house, a bachelor and an old gray cat that only stayed alive because I pill popped it every night. Now, so I had to take a quick inventory. Well, I can't get to a phone, at least what kind of weapons do I have? Which brings me to a second mistake. I didn't think through what kind of things I could use to defend myself. So with paper clips and chewing gum, I thought I could use this teddy bear, but really, it's just not ugly enough. Secondly, I thought, well, all I have is a guitar stand, so I picked it up, folded up the legs, and held it like a club. Lesson number 2, maintaining surprise and getting out of the house. Most training that you may go through in self-defense tells you that the best thing to do in a conflict or confrontation situation is just to get out. So I thought, oh man, I don't know this house very well. I don't think I can get out the 2nd story window because there's no ladder, there's nothing that I can jump onto and get to a lower level. I knew I had to go through the house. So in cases like this, what kind of plan do you have to get out of the house? And this may not even be a plan you can only use for intruders, but in case of a fire, some kind of other emergency. All I knew was to make a beeline down the stairs and out the front door. So I tried that. What I saw next, however, when I opened the door to my room, was nothing but a scene out of Pet Sematary. I cracked the door open, all the lights were shut in the house, all the lights were off in the house, and when I looked down the hallway, that door at the end was shut, whereas all the doors were open when I had gone to bed, and a faint light was glowing underneath. But it was not the main light. Somebody was trying to be secretive. And that old gray cat, perched in front of the door, seemed to turn its head 180 degrees. And with the light that's barely shimmering out, these ghoulish green eyes met me, beckoning, Kelly, come on, Kelly, you know you want to face this. I could hear nothing but blood and a drum going through my body. And so one thing with pets, they can be great, but be prepared. If you're trying to get out of a house and you forget that you have a pet, it could really screw you up psychologically like it did me. Secondly, I made sure to avoid the creaky floors, because if I was trying to be quiet, you just got to step over. So as you're thinking through how you get out of your home, do you have things that you might knock over? Do you have pets with really long tails that you could stomp on accident? Do you have creaky floors that might give away your presence to the intruder? Now, I made it downstairs, grabbed the phone, and got out the door. But what I saw next made me so angry that I went back inside. This intruder had the nerve to park his car in our driveway. Now I thought, okay, Kelly, be reasonable here. What if this is just your housemate, David, and he just came back and announced? But this was not a car that any of my friends drove, and it had damage on it that I just didn't recognize. This David would have called me. He's so responsible. And for him to show up unannounced, that's not him. This is it. And you know what? Now I'm mad. Which brings me to point number 3, going Rambo. And my lesson there for you is, don't do it. Because when I decided to go Rambo, I went back upstairs. And the cat was gone. I walked over the floor. And I had visualized how I would face this person. I would quietly get to the door, slam it open, and smite the intruder with this guitar stand. But it didn't turn out that way, because when I reached toward the doorknob, it started turning on its own, very slowly, like someone's trying to be quiet. And when it opened, everything happened in slow motion. A man, 6 foot tall, bigger than I was, wearing a white t-shirt, and my grip tightened, and the guitar stand went back. My knees dropped so that I could get the best swing. But I looked down, and this one was wearing boxer shorts. It was my friend David. He drove back in his fiance's car, a new car that her mom had bought. Goes to saying, we laugh a lot, but the lesson there is, how prepared are you? And are you prepared for the case of an intruder when it's not just a housemate?